In today's video, I'm going to be answering questions that I got from new and aspiring Pilates instructors. If we've not met before, hi, I'm Margaret. I'm a certified Pilates instructor. I've been teaching Pilates for 4 years. I started teaching group reformer Pilates classes in spring of 2019, and in January of 2021, I opened up my own virtual Pilates studio, and I have been teaching virtual mat Pilates classes since then. So I have experience with both teaching in person and with teaching online and building a business online. The first question that I have, I really want to start a YouTube channel, but I've never done anything video related. I don't know what kind of mic or audio equipment to use, what to use to edit my videos, what to use to film. I did a pretty in-depth video on this over the summer, all about how to start teaching Pilates online that I will link up in the cards. But for a rapid fire answer, don't worry about starting out with fancy equipment. Film on what you have and go from there. I use the Canon M50 to film all of my classes that I put on YouTube and to film any classes that I record for my on-demand library. I use the Rode Wireless Go for my microphone, and for my video editing software, I use a software called Movavi. I'm posting on YouTube, not sure if I should have where I work in person on my Instagram bio for safety reasons. I think it's up to you whether you feel comfortable or not putting that in your Instagram bio. I think a lot of your in-person clients probably want to follow you on Instagram. Some people might find you and come take your class in person, but if you're concerned about safety, then maybe don't. Creating online, getting clients online, planning classes. I have a whole video on planning classes that I'm going to link up in the cards. It talks about planning reformer classes and planning mat classes that I think is helpful for anyone that is a new teacher that's struggling with coming up with their own routines. That's a really good one to watch. In terms of creating content online, there's a whole lot that I could say about it, and I am not an expert with creating content online or content strategy or anything like that. In terms of posting content online, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, I think it's important to be intentional about what you're posting. Try not to post things just to post them. Try to have a why and a reason behind every post. Think about who this post is for. If you keep those things in mind as you're posting online, it will help the right people to find you. Content creation and content strategy is something that I really struggled with last year. So what was really helpful for me was going through a business coaching program that focused on creating content in order to get leads and get sales. That was super helpful for me. I will put the program that I did down in the description. It's with Marie Wold. It's Online Coach Kickstart. So if you're a new Pilates instructor, or if you want to do coaching, if you're also a personal trainer, that program is extremely helpful, and it'll help you to figure out what a content strategy is, what you should be posting online, what you should be posting in order to get clients. Everything that I know about content strategy, I learned in that program, and I would highly recommend it. Getting clients online. Again, it's a lot of being intentional about the content that you're posting, frequently talking about how you're accepting new clients, frequently talking about your offers, whether it's like a monthly membership, like what I do with my virtual studio, or if you're wanting to do one-on-one coaching, frequently talking about that and not being afraid to slide into somebody's DMs when they show interest in what you're doing. Social media is a lot about creating relationships, so you have to want to do that. You have to want to build relationships with your audience because they're not going to pay you money to take your classes or pay you money to work with you one-on-one if you haven't already established a relationship with them. Talk to people in your DMs, talk to people in the comments. That's really important, and I think when people feel connected to you, they're going to be much more likely to want to take classes with you or want to work with you one-on-one. Fun variations for footwork. We do it every class to warm up, and it's hard to keep creative. Let's take this to the reformer, shall we? I think there are a lot of different things that you can do with footwork. Obviously, there is the more boring traditional footwork. Oh, my foot bar is not in the right spot. You can always do the same footwork exercises parallel. We can do the feet in turnout. We can do the feet wide. We can do on the toes, right? Doing stuff like this for footwork. I think a good way to keep footwork interesting is to come up with repeating patterns that you do in different foot positioning. So I'll give you an example. If you start with the feet in parallel, we do 8 reps of full range of motion, okay? And then on the 8th rep, you can come in, hold halfway, holding the carriage open, maybe do 8 pulses, little tiny, and then you go all the way out. Again, you do 8 full rep, or full rein. This time you press all the way out to the top, and then you come in about halfway from there, tiny pulses, okay? And then you go back into full range of motion for 8, and then you come in halfway and you just hold for a count of 8. Something like that. Start thinking in patterns because you can repeat that same thing in different foot positioning. It's important to keep teaching interesting for you and also interesting for your clients. Find ways to tie what you're doing in footwork into the rest of your class. Create a repeating pattern in footwork that you can tie into the rest of your class. That will keep it interesting for you, but also interesting for your clients, and it will allow your clients to see how the class came together and how everything makes sense together. You can obviously do a lot with props in footwork. Say you're doing like footwork here, you have the ring in your hands. You can take it right here and do footwork. It keeps it interesting. It makes your clients think about the upper and the lower body moving at the same time, but you can also stop in the middle of a set of footwork and take a little bit of core work. I think there's a lot of opportunity for fun and interesting things in footwork when you take it out of just like the classical context of just pushing out and pulling in. I have another question to ask about how to keep classes interesting. When you're creating your classes, think about creating repeating patterns. Think about layering. We talked a lot about layering in the video about how to plan your classes, reformer and mat classes. Think a lot about layering, and not just layering in the context of giving people different options in certain exercises. Layering is also giving an exercise and building off of that to maybe make a big combination exercise or to get people prepared and into a more challenging exercise. There's a lot that you can do with layering. I think it's also important, especially for new instructors, to give yourself time to be creative on the mat and on the reformer. Take the traditional exercises and the classical exercises that you know and figure out how you can just slightly tweak them a little bit. That maybe you're working your arms and your legs at the same time. Maybe you're using a different prop. Think about ways that you can keep your clients engaged and keep your clients guessing. And I think that will help you to make things more interesting. When I first started teaching reformer Pilates classes, the studio that I taught at had a very specific method of teaching, and they gave us a big book of routines that we had to teach from. And there were probably 45 to 50 instructors across like 6 different studios, all teaching the same routines. I think we all got to a point that it was a little bit boring for us to teach the same thing over and over again, but we also got to a point where the clients knew what was coming. We weren't keeping them guessing. I think if you get to a point that your clients kind of know what's coming next, that's when you need to reevaluate. But when you're working with a more like beginner or kind of basic routine, just think about how you can spice it up. Can you add in pulses somewhere? Can you add in an isometric hold? Can you add in a prop? Can you shift the way people's feet are positioned so they're doing something slightly different than they're used to doing? Can you change the position of where people are on the reformer? Think about an arm series like this that you would typically do facing the back of the machine, doing chest expansion, doing a bicep curl, maybe doing a high row. Take exercises that people are familiar with and put them in a different position. So with that exercise, could you take it off of the reformer, take people to the side of the machine, take it single arm and do that same series? Because people are used to chest expansion, but they're not used to standing on the ground like this, right? Taking a bicep curl, taking a row. Think about taking exercises that people are familiar with and just tweaking them slightly. So there is a degree of familiarity with those arm exercises, but you're bringing people into a position that maybe they're not normally in. Another good example of this would be doing side lying work on your reformer or even on the mat, right? People are used to doing this. Can you maybe take that exercise up on the box from here? Tweaking the body position just slightly. So people are familiar with one part of the exercise, but they have to figure out a new part of the exercise. Stuff like that is what's going to keep it interesting, not only for you, but also for your clients. You want to keep them guessing. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you're a new or aspiring Pilates instructor and you have any other questions, please let me know down in the comments. I'm planning to do one video every month just for Pilates instructors. So if you have anything that you would like to see in the coming coming months, please let me know. Remember, you're awesome. You can do anything you put your mind to, and I will see you back here for our next video.
Just can't resist you. You got me drunk in love.